If you missed it, Brock Bowers is going to be out for a while for Georgia, having the tightrope surgery on the ankle, and we don't know when he's going to be back. Maybe towards the end of the regular season, maybe not at all in the regular season. I would bet against the regular season personally. There are some folks out there who don't think he'll play college football again. So anyway, it's going to be very, very iffy if they get him back. Well, the question is, what's Georgia going to look like without him? They would have lost the Auburn game without him. I'll tell you that. That doesn't tell me anything moving forward, but they got Florida coming up in 2 weeks, and they've still got to play. Who they still got to play, Colin? I know they got Georgia Tech at the end of the year. They still got to play at Tennessee later. They got Ole Miss coming to town. They got Missouri. I'm telling you, they got 4 teams right now that are top 25 caliber teams lined up in a row. I think Florida, at this point, is a top 25 caliber team, and you lost your best football player. You may have lost the country's best football player. So it's a very young team. They've been beat up all year. They just hadn't lost the star power, the likes of Brock Bowers. Boy, Carson Beck's about to have to shine. That defense is about to have to shine. It's a very imperfect team, but imperfection at Georgia is kind of a first world problem because it's still a really good team. They're going to have to play complementary. There is not a superstar that you can look at to just take things over here. They are loaded in their tight end room. Raw talent in their tight end room is not a problem. The complete package that Brock Bowers gives you, you do not have with Oscar Delp. You don't have that with Lawson Lucky. And those two, even Lucky, even the freshman, would start at 95% of programs in college football right now. They're that good. But I think anyone who has watched Brock Bowers understands you don't have another one of those in the tight end room. I said the same thing after the Auburn game, I'll say again. You got to look around that receivers room, and you got to get someone to step up, man. Like, I'm watching Bowers have to take over that Auburn game because no one else does. You got to look around that running back room. You got to have folks step up. You got to put on film of what Georgia football has looked like in their vintage moments when they've won titles the past 2 years, and you got to show them. Dudes like this, we still got the talent here. You just got to step up and play like that. That offensive line, you're trying to get Amarius Mims back right now. Maybe you get him back for the Florida game. Look, I know that from a fan's perspective, whether you're a Georgia fan or not, it just sucks because you hate to see the best players go down. You hate to see any player go down. But you hate to see the best players go down because you're always left wondering in your mind what would have happened if. Georgia fans hate to hear Bama fans say, what would have happened if Jamison Williams was healthy for the national title game in 2021? It's a valid thought. It's irrelevant because injuries are a part of the game. But that's my whole point. I would rather there not be major injuries and we just see the games play out perfectly clean. Everyone's healthy. I also believe in unicorns. And so 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks now, Jacksonville, Florida. You got Florida versus Georgia. And then they got 2 or 3 more opponents. Ole Miss, Missouri, Tennessee. They got 2 or 3 more. They can lose every one of those games. Every one of those games is losable. Make no mistake about it. They'll be favored in every one of them, but there is no one in that 4-game stretch that's not capable of biting Georgia, because if the Auburn Tigers take them to the wire, I can promise you on their best days, those teams can take them to the wire, especially if Georgia is B- or less on that particular Saturday. And then the question, and I don't know the answer to it, is will you get him back? Now, that's an elite, phenomenal athlete. They heal differently. They've got different equipment at Georgia. Without sharing state secrets, because I am from that state, I was up there last year. I've toured Georgia's medical facility. I've seen what they have in there. And I'm not saying that they're 2 or 3 steps ahead of NASA. I do think they're at least 1 step ahead of NASA. Some stuff, the likes of which you wouldn't believe. Unbelievable. I wanted to play around with it, but for some reason, there was not time for that on my tour that day. Texas is pretty out of this world, too. Fascinating stuff. You got 7 or 8 syllable words for what those machines are called. Brock Bowers, going to have to utilize every bit of it.